Thank you. You may be seated. I'll note for the record that Ms. Bingham is absent, he is excused, and that we do have a quorum. So good morning.
Good morning.
All right, we will go right into our agenda, and I move to approve the minutes from the December 18th, 2023 board meeting.
Second.
Second by Ms. Chappelle. Any on readiness? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. I move to acknowledge Secretary of State Directive 402 pertaining to the ballots for the March 19th, 2024 primary election.
Second.
Second by Ms. Chappelle. Any on readiness?
Just a question, if I might. So I assume we completed the review we had to complete by the 19th. The review to determine whether the Secretary of State precinct ID codes match our board voter registration system, and verifying that one voter, I guess, record in each precinct and statewide voter registration system matches our database in our system. So we did all that.
We have, because every Secretary of State publishes what they call their election night reporting series,
Right.
literally dozens of events, and we are in compliance with this and all the other ones. So
Great, thank you.
it's, Brian Clary looks forward to it every year.
Oh, of course. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Chappelle. Any other discussion on item 2? All right, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. And on to ballot, the chair recognizes Mr. Brian Clary.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Brian Clary, manager, ballot department. For you should have copied the post-election audit summary for the December 5th recall election. On January 8th, the ballot department conducted a risk limiting audit. For the December 5th, 2023 recall election, there were a total of 1,088 ballots cast in that election. A hand count was conducted of all 1,088 ballots. All ballots matched the official canvas for 100% accuracy rate. And then below that, you have a breakdown of all the individual batches that we picked for that. And I'll take any questions if you have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clary. Any questions for Mr. Clary from the board? All right,
Thank you.
thank you, sir. So I move to certify the post-election audit summary for the December 5th, 2023 East Cleveland recall election.
Second.
Second by Ms. Chappelle. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. For items 4 and 5, I want to state for the record that the agency received withdrawal notices late last night for the protest hearing for Mr. David Hartsfield and Terrence Upchurch. So there will not be a hearing, and they will be certified to the ballot moving forward. All right, we will now move on to item 6, and I make the following acknowledgement for appointments to public office. I move to acknowledge the appointment of Mike Byrne, Cuyahoga County Council Member District 4, and Brian M. Spring, Strongsville City Council Member of Council at Large.
Second.
Second by Ms. Chappelle. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. On item 7, I move to acknowledge the candidate withdrawals for the March 19th, 2024 presidential primary election as provided in our board packet.
Second.
Second by Ms. Chappelle. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. On item 8, I move to certify the write-in candidates for the March 19th, 2024 presidential primary election as provided in our board packet.
Second.
Second by Ms. Chappelle. All in favor, aye. Aye, the ayes have it. And I move to certify the charter amendments for the March 19th, 2024 presidential primary election as provided in our board packet.
Second.
Second by Ms. Chappelle. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. And on to election officials. The chair recognizes Ms. Marlene Robinson Statler.
Good morning.
Morning.
Marlene Robinson Statler, Assistant Manager with the Training Department Election Officials. All right, November, so it was so far away. All right, you received a document regarding our PEO performance summary and want us to go over some of the information for that in regards to some of our statistics from the data. We had 289 polling locations, and after a complete review and audit of all of our information, we did have, if you notice, some worker appointments, so we did have some people, I just want to go on the record, when we have to relocate, remove, or demote people, it's usually due to training issues or not following procedures. So if you see some of those numbers there, that's the reason we retain that information. We did add a practice makes perfect for our management staff, and for that 404 people attend, along with having robust Zoom sessions the week before the election, just to reinforce some of the things for the year for the election. Wanted to call your attention to the opening and closing of the polls. Just a note, the printing, signing, packing, zero reports. We did look at some of the numbers there, and there were 34 locations that might not have signed a report. So when we thought we reviewed that, sometimes the report was not packed in the place that we had assigned for it to be packed. We're packing our items. So that was a reason why we had that number there. We were working on some training measures for that.
I have a question.
Yes, absolutely.
So is there any coincidence that the 12% number is the 12% of new workers and the 12% where the 34 locations were, where they didn't sign any of the tapes?
No,
Okay.
but that would be great. If it would be great if it was a straight line, that would be wonderful. But no, it
Okay, all right.
wasn't. But yeah, but no, thank you. Thank you. That's good to note. As we continue on, I do want to talk about the handling of provisional ballots. We noticed as far as some of the numbers, we took a deeper dive because we noticed there's 121 locations had one or more provisional ballots rejected due to PEO error at 42%. So we took a deeper dive, and there were actually, we looked at having 1 to 7 errors. One error was for approximately 75 of the locations, and then the other locations had 2 errors, 3 errors, and so forth. So we saw that the majority of locations only had 1 particular error, which could note not printing the name, no signature, or something like that. So we didn't want you to think that everyone is making vast mistakes. It might be 1 location that made mistakes in 5 different areas.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So how do we determine in the advent of e-poll books that we have poll worker error for voters that vote in the wrong precinct, wrong location? How do we say it's poll worker error when the machine presumably spits out, you know, this is the wrong place and wrong location, and this is your correct location? How's a poll worker error? I just am confused at maybe how.
Well, there's 2 pieces there.
Okay.
If someone comes to a wrong location, so we usually use one of the examples. Someone arrives at your polling location at 7:29 p.m. and they want to vote. We explain to them you're at the wrong polling location. This vote will not count, but they still are adamant about doing the process. So then it would be at a wrong location. In addition, we do provide, and say the slips from our poll books, we have redirect slips. We have the direct at the right location and try to get them to the right location.
But how's it poll worker error then? That's my whole question.
You have the 12D, is it the 12D form?
We have the 12B form
What was that?
also, but sometimes people still go to the wrong location. And there are sometimes that the election official may process that in error. But there are people that also go to the wrong location and refuse to leave and go to the correct location and still are processed at that location.
I get that, but I'm
Yes.
trying to figure out how is it poll worker error? It seems to me that's voter error. The voter doesn't want,
Especially if they fill out the 12D form.
yeah, so.
Okay, well,
how-
what category?
Yeah, I just, I mean, our coworkers do a lot of things where we have to train their training issues, but I hate to slap them with a poll worker error, label, if it really isn't their error, if people, after all of that, this is your correct location, and they're still voting in the wrong precinct and wrong location. I just don't think that's poll worker error. So I just raised a question, like, I don't know how we're saying it's poll worker error if really it's not.
Did we get any 12D forms returned?
As far as I know, no,
Okay.
we did not have any 12D.
And that's the
Okay.
fail safe bet, because if you had the 12D form,
Right.
then you have the attestation from the voter that you're voting, you're voting in the wrong place you've been directed, and therefore the poll worker is absolved of culpability in that.
So is that what we're saying? If there is no form and they don't go that extra step, then it becomes poll worker error?
There's a couple of different areas in the
There's no-
12D, but I think it is something worth reviewing.
Yeah,
So
I
I
just,
do think
I
we can do
just think if people, if they're doing we have redirect slips, we have e-poll book printout saying, here, this is not your location. I just don't think we can say it's poll worker error if they vote, if they wanna vote there and they're insistent. That's my thought about it.
Is it,
Champion for the election officials, I like it.
Yeah.
is it a criteria that's on the 2010-55? I guess,
The criteria, yes, as
so
far
it
as.
is the Secretary of State defines it that way as an.
As
error.
a poll
Yeah,
worker
they just
error.
put it on the poll worker. So,
Can we chat with them about that? Cause it doesn't seem fair to me, you know, that it's poll worker error, but I'm sorry.
Well, they could be similar with no ballot at the end, well.
Yeah.
I don't know what they did, eat it.
Well, sometimes, well, no ballot envelope could mean that someone went to the scanner and scanned the ballot, which would be a
No.
voter going over to the scanner, even though you told them, please place this inside the provisional envelope and so forth, and they go over and scan it, but they still have that envelope and they don't want to destroy, get rid of any voting literature, so they return the envelope.
Well, I mean, yes,
Make
we
notes.
always call this poll worker error, but when I read the stuff last night, it just hit me like, gee, this isn't really poll worker error, but.
Right, and I sometimes I wonder how hesitant is the worker to execute the 12D form? Because they, you know, take that extra step, that it's simple enough that they take it and they tape it on there, and get it, but.
And if they have an irate voter who's determined to vote wherever they, is determined to vote, you know, it could be the pollers like, hey, and we don't want them, we want people to de-escalate, we don't want them to escalate us.
And then that would go in the pink memo and. then
Right, it's in the pink memos.
If we went through that, then we would be able to get the context of what happened.
Their comments, their comments and their notes would be on the big memo, we do a full review, but it does warrant further review, so that's.
Yeah, maybe chat with the Secretary of State's office about it.
That would help. And in addition to the provisional, and this actually takes us over to some of the performance categories, we noticed, looking at some of the numbers from 2021 to 2023, especially with processing the provisional ballots correctly, we noticed that in 2021, we had like a 91% rate, and we've gone to 52%. We're going back up at 58%. But we did a further review, and we did look at 2021, we processed only 2,055 provisional ballots overall. In 2022, we processed 8,006. And then in 2023, 5,088. And so sometimes the numbers look skewed, but if you have more, then there's potential for more error to happen. So we are looking at some other things. We have updated the manual, and I believe everyone received a copy of that. We've added some new troubleshooting guides for our election officials and our voting managers. We're adding some other print-on-demand emergency procedures. I've added some new videos and continue to focus on the change of House Bill 458, just to reinforce what's going with ID. The Bureau of Motor Vehicles still offers the free state ID, and so reinforcing that is still available for people if they need some of those tools.
Yeah, I think also this creating a ballot on demand emergency procedure is important, given the, you know, the shortage we had at a couple of locations back in November, so. Those all sound like good, you know, action steps to me. Great.
Anything else? No, all right. All right, thank you. I move to acknowledge the precinct election official performance report for the November 7th, 2023 general election.
Okay.
Second by Ms. Chappelle, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Thank you, Ms. Robinson Stadler. Agenda item 11. I move to accept the resignation of Austin P. Fulco, database analyst, effective February 9th, 2024.
Second.
Second by Ms. Chappelle. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
The ayes have it. We have a walk-on agenda item, and the chairs recognizes Shakita Walker to come and speak to resolution R 2024-01-23.
Good morning, everyone. Shakita Walker, manager for the elections. The welcome item we have is just the voucher for us to process the 10X University payment for this year for our election cycle. It's the first order is in the not to exceed amount of $30,000. So in order for us to go ahead and approve that, you guys to approve it.
Thank you.
This is
Mr.
the,
McCaffrey's taking a look at it.
this is the software that
Yeah.
poll worker uses to create the online training content. So that's what that is. We have we've been using it since 2020. when we first used it, and it's been a good tool.
Okay, excellent. I move to approve the resolution R 2024-1-23 FIS-V to pay the annual license and maintenance fee for Tennessee University online poll worker training in the amount not to exceed $30,000.
Second.
Second by Ms. Chappelle. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, thank you. On to new business, Director Delani.
I'm gonna start and Deputy Director Gallagher will finish. So as far as the March 19th primary, poll worker training, for this election cycle, the voting location managers and voting location deputies, we are requiring them to come in for in-person training. That training, we were able to start it this past weekend, being 60 days out. We did have 83 people come out on Saturday. They came through that weather to show up and get training. In their training, some of the things we're focusing on is inserting the paper rolls into the machine once they're at the polling locations. It is a primary, so again, reminding people have to make a selection as to the ballot type they want when they appear, one of three options. Going a little bit more in depth on the ADA machine, talking a little bit about printing the ballots on demand and just kind of honing in on those key things, some of the lessons that we've learned, prepare them for this upcoming election. So again, spending some time on electronic poll book, doing the manual lookups, which now we have more of those because you can't provide a passport or a military ID, but you just can't scan that in the book like you can a driver's license. So we're getting them trained up again. The returning workers, they do not have to go to training, but we will offer, like we always do, the Zoom classes the last week, they should are well attended. We're gonna have some practice makes perfect, where they come in and they can touch some items, and then we're gonna provide online tools for them to again, keep them fresh. They've trained quite a bit in the last few months. So with that, we reached out to them. We've had about 1,700 individuals commit already to working. And so that puts us at about 53% hired for the election, which is off to a good start for them. Any of the new PEOs that we hire for the cycle, though, they will go to a full in-person training for this upcoming election. So we're off to a good start with our poll worker training. Poll locations, we solidified all our poll locations last week, so we have that set. We do have some changes with it being a March primary instead of May. We've had some folks not be available. We had a new community center open up in Mayfield Heights that we're going to be able to take advantage of that. So that'll be nice. And then we got a surprise email last Friday afternoon from the Euclid schools who January 2nd or 3rd committed to being poll locations, who said they are not interested anymore in being poll locations for March, to which we pushed back and said, sorry, it's too late. There's 11 points in the city of Euclid, 6 of which are schools. So we cannot relocate at this point after that. I have a message into the mayor to make sure that the mayor is aware, and hopefully partner with the mayor to make sure that the schools understand we need to work together because we are using these schools. So mayor hasn't called me back. But we don't.
I'm sorry, just a question. So it's just a matter of statute though. They're obligated. I mean,
That is correct.
they have no choice in the matter. So I mean, we like to be collegial and all that, but in a practical matter, the statute governs them and they have no choice. So they can't just say we're not doing it.
Yeah,
Okay, correct.
any public entity that takes tax dollars.
Yeah.
Has an obligation to the whole place. So, and I think they know that too.
Yeah.
So.
I thought so, but.
Yeah. But again, you know, we,
Just wanted to state that for the record.
you're absolutely correct, because we happen to throw that out there quite a bit. Thank you for fulfilling your obligation with the revised code. So we have that. proofing, Brian Cleary, and his team are in ballot proofing. It is going well. It is on track. We are still waiting. We had the charter deadline was the 19th, and I think Sugar and Falls came in with 3 close to the deadline. So we have those. We're just waiting on Spanish translation versions to provide to him on that, but he's able to keep things moving. This week they go into overtime status on proofing. We need to have our ballots ready for Friday, February 2nd, which is opening at Yokava. So that is it's this week, next week, and the following Friday. So 2 weeks from this Friday is when we'll have that, and confident that he will have that in place. So they're busy doing that. Parking for this upcoming election. We will utilize our back parking lot for both ADA and non-ADA parking throughout the entire cycle. And Campus International School, just across the street, has also agreed to be overflow parking for the entire cycle. So we will have this lot primary and then overflow for that lot. We do have 3 days a week on voting in a presidential primary, the last Saturday and Sunday, and then the week before on that Saturday. And that's when we anticipate most that we would probably need to utilize that extra parking.
And thanks to them for being a great parking partner and helping us out on that parking, if they do.
Most definitely, we would really be up the creek if not for that. So, and then this Thursday, staff here, we have a joint conference call with the Secretary of State's office and Clear Ballot to talk about election night reporting. What Clear Ballot needs to do to get us prepared to timely and correctly report our results. We know what we were up against last time. We talked about it in previous board meetings. Secretary of State has the same concerns that we do. So we'll have this joint call. Maybe a one and done, maybe the first of a couple. We'll see how it goes. To make sure that we have something in place so we can timely, correctly report results on election night. So we appreciate the Secretary of State's office partnership and working with the vendor to make sure this happens. So
I just at the conference last week, they were very much vocal in saying how they were looking forward to improving in their performance and doing, being a great partner. And they mentioned, one of the representatives mentioned they were, guys are going to have the conversations to make sure they were at the primary, but seemed very excited and committed, and so that was good to hear. And
yeah,
I mean, it was completely unsolicited, so
yeah. I mean, we always do. We're supportive of the Secretary of State's office. We try to establish those relationships, help them, they help us, and all those things. And those things are really coming into as everyone gets to know each other with some of the new faces that we have. And it's positive, which is good. So those are the parts I have. Tony's going to talk a little bit about some voter education that we're going to be doing coming up.
Sure. Wanted to get you updated on 2 events we have coming up next month. The first is on February 8th and 9th. That's our voter education at the libraries that we have. Staff will be on site for this 2-day event. They'll be at 8 libraries over those 2 days. Voters will be able to get information regarding the March 19th presidential primary. They'll have an opportunity to register to vote or update their registration address, and so forth. They'll also have an opportunity to receive or fill out a vote by mail application. They can even turn it in at that point. The event, so on Thursday, February 8th, will be at the Brooklyn Library, Brecksville, Fairview Park, and Strongsville. On Friday, February 9th, will be in Independence, Mayfield, Solon, and Warrensville Heights. Times will be from 12:30 to 3:30. Our full schedule is available on our website, and we'll be publicizing it, working together with the media to help publicize that and just to be out in the neighborhoods to educate the public.
were there Cleveland locations? Did I miss a Cleveland?
It's not listed on here.
No, Mike's, he started working with the Cuyahoga County system, and he's gonna talk with the Cleveland.
We need some
system.
Cleveland locations
Sure.
on this voter education piece.
Okay.
One other question, how are they being notified that this event is in the library issuing, come and notice?
Yeah, the library is publicizing it as well as, we will be publicizing through our social media. Plus, this is, media release. They'll be publicizing it through, hopefully covering it through television and newspaper as
Right.
well.
Yeah, the county library is pretty good about using their email contact list. to get
Yeah, it's a great library system,
Yeah,
but we need some Cleveland locations.
Yeah. The second is our public test. Our public test is of the tabulation equipment, something that we do before every election. So for the March 19th, that public test will be on Friday, February 16th at 9:30 at the Perkins Warehouse. The public test, like I said, is something we are required to do by the Secretary of State's office. At the public test, the ballot scanners are there. We run actual ballots that will be used on election day through ballot scanners as well as the high-speed tabulation equipment. This is always open to the public, but this time we're taking the extra effort to work with the media to not only cover the event, but also invite people to get the word out there that they are invited to come. We'll also be notifying both political parties to help spread the word as well. So people who have concerns about election integrity or questions about how the process works, they'll have an opportunity to be able to see the precautions and the things that are done ahead of time in order to verify that the accuracy of the equipment and the ballot. In addition to that test, we're also going to invite them to come up to the 5th floor where we do have our vote by mail process and give them an opportunity to be able to see all the steps and precautions that take place as an application is received and how it's processed, how it's verified, signature verification, date of birth, ID, and then how, to show off some of our equipment of how effective we are in the process of removing the applications, the ballots, and processing them there. So we've done something like this similar in the past, and it was very successful. And I think Director Prelati and I feel that, especially going into a presidential primary, that it is important to be as transparent as we always are, but to publicize it in advance. So hopefully we look at this as being a good 1-2 step to help educate the public. And that information again is also will be available on our website as well as the media will be publicized.
Any other questions for Director, Deputy Director, Director Prelati?
just, also, we have, as of right now, about 500 vote by mail applications. So this week, we needed to kind of get our poll location squared away, so that we have that, we can start to do some of that input. That number will grow dramatically, and mostly when we send out our voter information guide, which will hit about a week before absentee opening on the 21st of February. So, but we'll start pushing that now too, get your application in now and do that, because the number one error, and we'll educate people on it, the primary is lack of selecting the ballot type that you want. So we make no assumptions. It's not what you currently are registered at. You have to mark it on that. So we want to get somewhat of a jump on that. So those individuals who don't do that, we can get something out of the timeline for them to get something back to us. And so.
Any other questions? Thank you both. Also, before we go further, we want to take a personal privilege to congratulate and commend Board Member Ida Jo Davis Chappelle and Director Anthony Prelati for the presentations they made at the Ohio Association of Election Officials. They both represented Cuyahoga County very well, and I would say that the people hung on every word. But they did represent us very well. And I think Mr. Clary would be interested to know that in one county, the director said they get their stuff back by 9:30 p.m. So thank you both.
Thank you.
For the way in which you represent it. The chair has received a request for public comment, and I recognize Twan Billings. Is Mr. Billings in the house? Please come to the podium to your right and my left. And if you would spell your name for the record and your address, and our Clerk will give you up to 5 minutes, sir, where you can address the board. Well then.
Twan Billings, TWN Billings, BILLINGS, 1876 Stanwood Road, East Cleveland, Ohio.
Floor, sir, is yours.
Okay, so what I came to ask, so the court ruling, for the city of East Cleveland, they just, found that me and Latik Shabazz was actually, the council persons for our, city. And I was trying to find out about how to go about getting our certificates. Now, I know he already had got his until it was challenged, but he still got his certificate from the board and was recognized by the board. And I was trying to figure out how do I go about getting mine.
Yeah, so, we received and acknowledged that, that ruling from the court. We know, like with anything in courts, things are appealable. And so we knew we weren't gonna take any action until at least that appeal window had passed, because you just don't know. And kind of had a little bit of discussion with Mark regarding that, so.
It's a 45-day window to appeal to the Supreme Court, and I can't remember when that decision was journalized. But once that window closes, it's something that we can move to the next step on.
Has that window, been closed?
I don't want to top my head.
We can look.
We can get that.
I can work with Tony.
We can get that.
Okay, I can wait, at the meeting.
We can get that information for you.
All right,
Yeah.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there a request for executive session?
Actually, I would request a motion, to go into executive session to share information and consider the purchase or acquisition of property for public purposes, since the disclosure of information would give an unfair, competitive, or bargaining advantage to a person whose personal private interest is adverse to the general public interest.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Roll call.
Yeah,
Board member Chappelle,
Yeah.
board member McCafferty,
Yes.
board member Curtis. Aye. The ayes have it. We are in executive session and we will return shortly. Thank you. You're in recess.
We haven't done.
It's been a while.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Need to hang out or no? I learned something new from your legal opinion.
Isn't that interesting? To write it.
Understanding, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, is that so compared to, I mean, that's like, understanding, and that, so, what do you mean, Marshall? And I'm like,
Follow up.
yeah, the provision's different.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything directly on place, so I thought.
Yeah, no, it's good to
Better
know.
than-
I don't know what difference I had.
Yeah.
Good argument, good to know.
It's interesting, the form, we don't have the form for the declaration of intent, that's something made up by the Secretary of State, the Secretary of State to make up the write-in form, it's not in the statute. It's- Do you guys want to back there, or what you can? I was at the meeting, I can see.
Yeah.
That's a little bit.
Yeah. Better anything when I'm angry or not?
Yeah, that's.
I'm looking to come out.
Yeah. Probably back only in the village. Yeah, yeah, fun, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna pull out there, generator, pretty good, one, days a day, days and, photo picture, and then. Yeah, there's a chunk that doesn't have a lot. And, they don't go. Yeah. Really bad. Actually. All right, cool. Yeah, all right. I'll copy it. Yeah. Okay, yeah, well, that's right.
Oh.
Cool. Okay.
For.
Yeah, for the points. All right, talk to you later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a seat here, go out there.
Good next time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so. Weirdo side art. I don't know how far back. But anyway, we keep it on that, so we may wanna do it, so we start, so they don't get out what you're saying. Alright, okay. I don't think we'll be too loud. You know, I got this late with it. Hey, Mary, when I got that email this morning, I was like, yeah. I was just, I don't know what I was when I lived. I'm like, see, that's something inappropriate.
Right. All right, we're back in session, out of executive session, and the chair.
You don't need to.
I think we need to do that.
Executive session.
Okay.
You got it.
There it goes.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Hello? Hello?
Robin, can you come up and help taking us back in session? We have an echo up there. Okay,
Oh, no.
No, that worked.
okay, Tony's working on it.
Seems like we're not getting feedback there.
I turned
All right,
it
I think
down, but hopefully what that means is, hopefully that's a volume of us hearing what's going on. And not us,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, well, good. We went back out of executive session and we're back in session, and the chair has received a public comment request from Mr. Tom Bullock. Mr. Bullock? You're podium to your right, mic.
Thank you.
And if you could just please spell your name for the record and your address, and you'll have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Tom Bullock. I'm a city council Lakeville for 15 years. My address is 150 Rosewood Avenue, Lakeville, Ohio, 44117.
How are you?
Board member, I met you, but I know much of you and support your capacity. But to talk to you today, I've been a long time voter, consumer, community leader, and candidate user of the Board of Election Services, and I've appreciated all the good work the board has done over the years, including voter registration and helping constituents get their needs met. Working with communities to locally form places and I know years ago we also coordinated our municipal primary with a more orderly and less expensive calendar. So we in Lakewood partnered effectively with the board for many years and look forward to doing that many years more. And I'm here in the spirit of a partnership problem solving request, and that is in receipt of a letter from some of my colleagues in the community and some elected former elected about a problem with the House District 13 candidate field for the Democratic primary, the state legislative district. Now, because of non-competitive partisan gerrymandering, which is a big problem, I submit to you. The real election for that district is the Democratic primary, just as in other elections, the Republican primary election. So the candidate field for the Democratic primary matters a great deal because it's the de facto election. And in this case, there's a problem with raising your attention. So I start by saying I think we should all be able to agree that voters should decide elections. Fundamental principle of democracy of our country. Voters should decide elections. And frankly, there's a whole pattern of problems that have interfered with that in America, not just Ohio, not just Cuyahoga County, but nationally. We could talk about all the time. In this case, I want to talk about one specific problem, which is the way the candidate field emerged after the deadline, in effect, nullifies the voter's choice. It's a loophole that was exploited now, and it's a loophole that's open for repeat exploitation in the future, unless something is unless we put our heads together to problem solve and evaluate what the current rules are, why they're there, how they might be evaluated for change and improved to the effect that the voters have a meaningful choice. So that's why I'm wondering we're talking briefly today in the public meeting, I want to get in the public record, but maybe there's some follow-up communication, face-to-face meeting that one of the boards could have, not just from Lakewood, but from the city of Cleveland, which is, for sure one board, and I think parts of several other boards are involved in this too. And he's been very, concerned about the effect. What happened was a long-time incumbent didn't run. Another candidate pulled petitions in secret or clandestinely, filed at the deadline day at noon. The incumbent candidate who also filed certified petitions called as the time expired, called the Democratic Party chairman, who's got nothing to do with this body, as the buzzer expired, so I'm gonna retire. He tells the press the next day, I'm retiring and I'm endorsing the other guy in the race. The next day, he actually files a withdrawal with you. So there's now one legal candidate in the Democratic primary. Which means it's like saying you can have any flavor of ice cream you want, as long as it's vanilla. So, there's a couple, I think there's a confluence of factors here, not all of which are this board's or this county's under your ability to address. But there's a piece of the rules, and even if there are factors beyond what the county can control, I'd certainly welcome your insights, expertise in understanding what the rules are, how they play into the effect that we had, and see if we can improve. Because even if there's innocent intentions, as the withdrawing incumbent claims, and to be honest, I think the explanation stretches credulity to the point of breaking to say that this is all just an accident. But even if we don't try to read people's minds or get into their intentions, the net result of the fact pattern is that the voters have no choice. All right. And that's part of the problem with partisan gerrymandering is that in the general election, the check and balance of a candidate of a different party would give the voters equal choice to negate tricks like this. But the gerrymandering stuff at the state level has negated that check and balance, which is a fundamental problem. So that gets us to the rules of candidate guild establishment. And so the effect is that the board, which creates a public record, which I think is wonderful, transparency in candidate listings and is released on an ongoing basis. In some cases, in all cases, the candidate is offered the option to not list themselves in that public record.
Excuse me, Mr. Broker,
Yes.
the clerk is giving me a sign of the time. How much time, sir?
5 minutes.
Okay, how much time is left?
That was it.
5 minutes. Just make us-
Yeah, I can conclude. So, your role is to umpire fair and effective rules. You're the keeper of the rules. You're not the coach of the football team. But if you have a situation where the University of Michigan coach cheats and gets the championship and possessions 90 cents of law and says, I got the championship, never mind about this cheating stuff. Do the umpires who administer design rules just say, okay, well, that's the way it goes? Or do we look at an adjustment to keep up with these changing practices? Because I don't want to tell the voters of Lakewood that they have no choice in a very important process that they should have some say.
Thank you for your time and,
Folks that know, the points that you made, appropriate follow, we can do that in the ensuing days.
I appreciate it. I certainly welcome a chance to have a dialogue.
Thank you,
Sorry,
sir.
There being no other business before us, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Sure.
Aye. Aye, the ayes have it. Thank you.